Our first piece this evening is going to be Museum Majicc by LaDonna Williams, and it's going to have Aubree Dixon reading as Jinxx LaVue, Randy Bampfield as Robert, Dalyla McGee as Jade, and TJ Ruth will be taking care of stage directions. Enjoy!
Scene 1. Lights up on Jinxx LaVue and a small group of tourists. They stand in front of a projection of a museum lobby.
Hello, and welcome to the Museum of City Magic, the home of all your favorites such as Lumberjacks and Lace Lover, who is the sexiest of them all. I am Jinxx LaVue, your tour guide for this afternoon. Follow me on this journey through history, ecstasy, triumph, and some neck injuries. Before we begin, there are a few rules. 1. Absolutely no touching of artifacts, and in good etiquette, no touching of performers. 2. No touching of yourself. No one wants to clean up after you, if you get my drift. 3. We know you have been working on your skills. I regret to inform you there are no club managers here, nor do we host auditions. Stay off our pole. 4. Absolutely no pictures or soliciting live performers. And last but not least, 5. If you touch, I will chop your hands off. Any
Jinx
questions?
picks up her large machete.
Yes?
We get to see the robotic dolls.
Oh, yes, Robo Queens. We will be taking our journey to the Spark Tech section of the museum. However, we're renovating that wing so you won't be able to experience the full exhibit. Okay, if there are no more.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Do you feature Lady Encore in any of the exhibits?
Lady Encore?
Yeah, she is.
Jade enters, interrupting Robert.
Hello. Hi. I'm here for the tour. I haven't missed it yet, have I?
Welcome. You're right on time. Let's get going.
Robert raises his hand to complete his question, but is met with Jade's greetings instead. The group walks in place as the background shifts in a viewfinder fashion.
Hello. I'm Jade. So happy to be here. I've been wanting to come since the opening. It's funny how you can live in a city and not have time to see everything you want to see. What's your name?
Jinx stops and the group follows suit. The background stops on a blurry picture of a black Adam and Eve. Though the picture is blurry, we can see Adam's features and more sharp than Eve's, and there are not only leaves covering her breast and bottom half, but there are leaves over her mouth and eyes.
Robert, shh. Jinx is about to begin.
In the beginning, humans walked Earth naked and unashamed. We start with Adam and Eve. You'll notice their private bits are covered for those who can't appreciate unclothedness. We know the story and the downfall. Man got insecure and needed control, so he chose to tell women she was bad and needed to cover herself. And this is what the artist is depicting for us.
Robert raises his hand, but is ignored. Jinx instead points to Jade.
Hi. Who is the artist?
Oh, great question. Artist Resolve.
Robert and Jade raise their hands again. Jinx chooses Jade.
Hi. Oh, I love Resolve.
Oh, how delightful. Resolve has several works here. She's been one of our greatest supporters. You should sign up for our mailing list. You'll never miss an event again.
How do I get on the mailing list?
Jinx slowly turns to Robert.
You can text MAGICC, spelled MAJICC, to 739-73557.
Jinx starts walking away.
Jinx, how long have you worked here?
This is my second season with MAGICC. It has been a joy being around all this history.
Will we get to see work by Encore?
I don't know who that is.
How do you not know? Why?
The person you are referring to does not exist. Sir, I must continue the tour. We do not spoil the tour for other guests. Oh, Jade, did you know Artist Resolve has a full room dedicated to undesirable beauty?
Ooh, how interesting.
Jade and Jinx walk in place, arm in arm, chatting about artist resolve. Robert is left clenched fist and seething. He stands for a moment before marching in place behind them. Historical depictions of women in brothels flip through in the background.
We now come to our Hall of Greats. Take a few moments to look over this beautiful hall.
Robert and Jade admire the huge wall of images. Jade is eagerly taking in every image while Robert is more methodical. He is searching for something. After a moment, Jade breaks Robert's bubble.
Oh my goodness, isn't this amazing? Yo, 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 yo! Channing Tatum. Did you know Channing was an actual stripper? Lady Gaga? Azealia Banks? Mind completely blown.
Robert is completely ignoring her.
Robert? Hey, are you even aware that there are other people around you?
Listen, I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm trying to concentrate.
If you're looking for something, I'm sure Jinxx could help.
No, I'm good.
Well, maybe I can ask her.
No, please don't.
Well, at least let me help.
I've got it.
Robert, 4 eyes are better than 2. Tell me what you're looking for.
Okay. I'm looking for a robo queen named Lady Encore. She's one of the first of her series.
Lady Encore? I've never heard of her name before. Actually, I'm not sure I know anything about robo queens.
They are these life-size robotic dolls created to enhance live dance experience. They were made to do all of the dangerous stunts that owners were not comfortable with their human performers doing. Encore was the first.
That's impressive. You're super knowledgeable.
Yeah, I was a big fan. She was superhuman-like and beautiful.
You got to meet her.
Once.
Why do you say once?
Encore was supposedly taken offline.
You don't believe it? Okay. Well, I must say this is the most you've talked to me, and that's a win. Well, let's look for Encore's picture.
As they are searching, Jinxx returns.
Let's take 2 more minutes and we'll start our tour again. Anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Robert looks at Jade, mouthing the words, "Please don't." Jade nods.
I love Hall of Greats.
So happy you do. Let's continue our tour. Our next stop is Spark Tech.
Here's your chance.
Jade gives Robert a reassuring pat on his hand. The background stops on a photo of a long hallway and Spark Tech in bright bold lettering. On stage, a pole has appeared. Jinxx stands next to it as sexy music comes. A voiceover says, "Welcome to Spark Tech, the place where all your dreams come true." Jinxx twirls around the pole, giving a sensual dance. Robert notices something familiar about her dance.
Spark Tech, the place where every fantasy is fulfilled.
Lady Encore.
What?
Your Lady Encore.
Will you please stop bringing up that name?
Why?
Lady Encore has been placed on the unmentionable list. I've already said too much. Shall we get going?
Actors begin walking in place again.
Dude, what did that chick do? Her name has been banned from the museum.
I don't want to talk about it.
Dude, I'm interested now. Why are you searching for an exotic dancing robot whose name can't even be mentioned in a museum?
Please lower your voice.
I only want to know where Lady Encore is.
What is your obsession with this Encore?
I only want to know where she is.
Hey, can we all just get along?
I am tired of your insolence. You are hereby banned, Robert.
You can't ban me.
I assure you I can.
Running to the edge of the stage to do his dramatic retelling of the events.
Do you see how they do you? The world draws you in with flashing lights and beautiful women. The promise of meeting a woman you've only ever dreamed of, even for a few minutes in time. It's all shits and giggles until you get smacked in the face by a double D boob. Do you see this face? I've been using Botox since the incident. The incident where before that, you thought I was some disinterested douche. No, I'm the reason number 2 was implemented. Lady Encore was perfect. She was everything I ever wanted. She danced like a goddess. Her breasts were so supple, I wanted to reach out and motorboat those suckers. That's when they sucker punched me. 1, 2, 3, TKO on my wedding night of all nights. I lost my good looks and my woman, all because of robo queens like you.
Points at Jinxx.
You thought I wouldn't notice that tattoo on your neck, your signature move. You're supposed to be perfect. How can such perfection cause so much pain? The one thing they did not account for was your sense of entitlement. You look down on everyone. I thought I'd feel bad for you, but I realized the world would be better off without you.
Robert grabs the knife from Jinx's garter belt and slits her neck in one swift movement. To his surprise, blood starts slipping everywhere.
What? No! What have I done?
Jade looks, one with a smirk.
I knew you'd come searching for me. I thought Jinxx had a sense of entitlement. Your head's far too up your ass to see what's going on.
Encore?
Jade takes a deep curtsy with her arms.
But you look so different.
Yeah. After the whole breast fiasco, I had a few upgrades. Ups, oh sweetheart, fix your face. All I've ever seen is been seen as an object of pleasure. You knew me because of the curves and the breast. But I'm more than wires and gears, Robert. I have feelings and dreams. I wanted out. You were an excellent out. You were the gullible lush I'd been waiting for. I saw the longing in your eyes. Do you remember leaning into my chest and touching my forearms, even though you knew you weren't supposed to touch me? That slight lean in was in range. Bam! And the rest is history. After the course case, I persuaded my designers to switch up my looks. Such a happy occasion, I was free. Life was good and you started to look for me. Now look what you've done. A poor girl is dead because you couldn't leave well enough alone.
Jade steps over Jinx's lifeless body.
But bye, Robert.
Robert stares in confusion as we hear sirens. Fade to black.
Nice job, everyone. Thank you, actors. All right. Thank you so much, LaDonna. How do you feel? How was that to hear it?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Yeah, I think you live so much in your head with a piece, and like, you can see it one way, but like once you hear it, you're like, oh, I see the potential.
Yes, I think I thought it read so well. Thank you all so much, actors, for that. So what we'll do with our feedback, if you want, because there's quite a few of us, to use the raise hand function, or you can drop comments and questions in the chat. But just in general, what were some things that stuck out to you or that resonated with you that you enjoyed about that piece that you want to share? And it can be, a line or a particular moment or, plot. Charmaine says in the chat that what a twist. And yeah, it's so funny too. I remember when we first read it and we're talking about it in class and everything. Just what a unique like story, and the whole world that you created with that was such an interesting and imaginative. Yeah. So, let's see. Do you, when you were initially coming up with it, what were some of the ingredients from the Bake Off that you went with?
So I actually went, I think, with everything. So it was a strange person or a mysterious person. I think it was the machete, or I might have written that in, but it was an object. It was a strip club and a museum. And I don't know, it's at first it scared me because like I was like, a strip club? Me?
But I thought it was like the perfect opportunity to dive into that conversation about sex work and those who have been othered by their experience as sex workers, you know? So yeah.
It had this really awesome sci-fi element to it. That whole concept of the AI robotic sex workers. Like, I mean, I don't know anything about either of those worlds, but at the same time, it totally feels like that is something that could absolutely exist in the next 10 or 15 years, that there would be, robotic pole dancers, robotic exotic dancers. I could see it 100%. And then what are the ramifications of that for the people?
Oh yeah. AI is coming a long way. Like there's like an app that you can text an AI and it becomes your friend. So it like learns about you. It's kind of like her.
Yes.
Her.
Okay. Oh, and yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah. Yes. Indeed.
I was going to ask, in terms of like the character of Robert, what was going on when you were like having him initially as kind of a like hapless loser that sort of has a different, darker secret?
So there was actually a real story where a man went to a strip club on his bachelor night, whatever you call that, bachelor party, and he actually got slapped in the face by a dancer's breast, and it became a whole court case. And I asked the question, like, what if, like, what would happen? I mean, like, how do you tell your wife to be like, oh, I was at a strip club and I got a black eye, you know, like, and then once what were the ramifications of all of this? Like, yeah, so he lost everything. And so that was that story.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. And yes, yeah, exactly, Kara, the male gaze blaming the woman for his attraction and that kind of thing. I also really appreciated the way that putting it in a museum, right? Like that whole idea of making it this thing that we have like put up on kind of a pedestal now, that okay, we're going to go and like go through the whole history of sex work, and all the way back from Adam and Eve and all of that. Like it really was interesting to think about it in those terms, because our culture is so uptight about a lot of things to do with sex, and so that unpacking of all of that was really fascinating in this very short piece.
Yes.
So Charmaine asked in the chat how much Jinxx knew about any of this, because she was so indifferent to Robert at the beginning.
That is a good question. I the way that I created it is like, I don't think Jinxx knew. I think that she's very green because she's only been there for a season, 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. So for me, in my mind, I'm thinking that's only a year.
Yeah. And I imagine too, she deals with, much like exotic dancers and sex workers have to deal with unruly customers. I imagine people at Museum Majicc get a little unruly, and so she's probably in that headspace with him at the beginning, that he's just another.
Yeah. Thing. And also there's a line in there where Robert's like, I'm the reason for rule number 2. And,
I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like, he's been going. She's just never had that interaction with him. So yeah.
Oh, and Dalyla, yes, huge snaps that there's a lot of depth to explore about the use of Black bodies on stage, and how Black women are a lot of times portrayed, and their own sexuality, and being able to own that, and all of those really complex, meaty things.
I was very intentional about wanting them to be, both of the actresses to be Black women, because not only do we live in Atlanta, where we have one of the highest rates of child sex trafficking, which also leads into women becoming sex workers on occasions, right? And also the fact that 1 out of 4 girls will be sexually assaulted before the age of 18. But the fact that we never talk about Black women, and girls are sexualized and over-sexualized. And so to be able to have agency over their body. And I love when Jade takes ownership. She's like, I have dreams, you know? And so I think in these worlds that women who are sex workers and those who find themselves as sex workers become dehumanized. And it's all about what they bring to the table, but no one ever asked them, you know, because they're mothers, they're sisters, brothers, aunts, you know, and all this. So there's a whole world and depth to sex work.
Well, I appreciate you bringing all of that wonderful depth and nuance to a 10-minute play, and still crafting something that is so entertaining and interesting, and it's clearly sparked a lot of thoughtful introspection and that kind of thing with the audience. So thank you so much, LaDonna. It was awesome.
And our actors did such a wonderful job. I was like, oh my gosh.
They were
wonderful.
All of them. Well, great. That'll, I think, wrap us up with y'all. Thank you.